The Arsenal career of William Saliba has been full of drama. Signing in 2019 for £30 million, over 2 years later, he is still yet to make his Arsenal debut. Currently, he's firing in Ligue 1 on loan at Marseille. But what does his Arsenal future have in store next? Well, let's find out if Arsenal are set to offer Saliba a new contract. Also, has Gabriel Martinelli been training as a centre forward? And why have Arsenal been tipped to make a move for Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and I am back. I took a few days off to take some steps back to have a bit of a relaxing period of time. That transfer window had me stressed and now I am back with the energy, with the vibe. So if you guys enjoyed the video, smash a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's get straight into this. And starting off, let's talk Mr. William Saliba. Now, in terms of the Mbappe of centre-backs, talk to me about him, because this year at Marseille, this guy has excelled once again. The excellence in defence, the consistency at such a young age, he has become a standout player for Marseille, starting week in, week out. And as pointed out here, William Saliba has already made more senior appearances this season than in any previous campaign. This is very important because in terms of Arsenal and their strategy, it was to loan out Saliba so he can play more first team regular minutes, because thus far in his career, Saliba is still yet to complete a full season of senior football. So in terms of Arsenal, they had two very easy options. That's either give Saliba a chance in the Arsenal squad but more as a rotational option, or send him out on loan where he can play more first team regular minutes, get any mistakes out of his game, and ultimately grow as a player. So for the experience, the physical and mental improvements, it was vital for Arsenal to see Saliba play games week in, week out. Now in terms of Marseille, reportedly they are set to get a transfer ban. Now we're not quite sure if that goes ahead, but in terms of Arsenal, they've made it very clear to Marseille they want Saliba to return. But most importantly, in terms of Saliba's Arsenal contract, at the end of the year it's only going to have 2 years left. So with that being the case and Saliba impressing so much, I have not been surprised when I have seen reports linking Saliba with a move to the likes of AC Milan, Inter Milan, and potentially Real Madrid. So with that being the case for Arsenal, it is imperative they give him a brand new contract. And so talking about that, according to Goal, they are reporting that Arsenal will look to sign William Saliba down to a new contract in the summer. And even according to Mr. Charles Watts, the focus this summer defensively for Arsenal will be to find cover for Tomiyasu, with Middlesbrough's Jed Spence as a target, and then integrating William Saliba into the squad. It is all set for Saliba to come back into this Arsenal fold and really give Arsenal elite centre-back depth. The fact that this guy is still under the age of 21 alongside Gabriel Magalhaes and Benjamin White, what you have there is three potential top centre-backs. When was the last time Arsenal had three out-and-out top potential centre-backs? And for Arsenal's sake, if they are to enter the Champions League, look around in terms of the other top teams, they all have three top centre-backs. The prime example is Manchester City. They've got Ruben Dias, Aymeric Laporte, but also Mr. John Stones, and they even spent up to £40 million on Nathan Ake. If you want to be a top elite team fighting for the best competitions, you need to have depth and quality, and once Saliba returns to this Arsenal team, he gives Arsenal exactly that. But most importantly, in terms of Saliba, I'm sure when he comes back to Arsenal, where does he fit into this Arsenal first team? Now we of course are massive fans of the likes of Gabriel and Ben White. As great as all three of those players are, I would say that Saliba has the highest potential ceiling out of all three centre-backs, which of course is just the boys' opinion. But in terms of yourselves, talk to me about the Mbappe centre, and when he is to return to Arsenal at the end of the season, what do you guys think should be the best plan for him? Is it go into this Arsenal team, and if so, which Arsenal centre-back potentially could he be replacing? The Athletic are reporting that contract renewals for Gabriel Martinelli, Bukayo Saka and William Saliba are expected to be on the agenda for Arsenal in 2022. Current indications are that Saliba is minded to return to Arsenal next season and compete for a first team place. Let's put Saliba to one side and focus in on Pele's godson. We're talking Mr. Gabriel Martinelli, who since that goal against Newcastle has been starting week in, week out and really showing these Arsenal fans what he's really about. And as you guys can see here, in December he won the PFA Fans Player of the Month award. And even in terms of last month, as you guys can see, Gabriel Martinelli has been voted for Arsenal's Player of the Month for January as well, receiving 41% of the votes. Not only has he scored goals and got assists, but he showed Arsenal fans his real sense of purpose in that final third. But we know how good a player he is, but most importantly, he has been playing as a left winger. But with the departure of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, let's just say, does Martinelli have a future potentially as a centre forward? Because according to Kaya like a Football London, as he says, interesting to see some of the positions that Gabriel Martinelli was taken up during Arsenal's Dubai training camp, with centre forward options so thin on the ground at the Emirates. Using the Brazilian as a number 9 is something Mikel Arteta could visit in the second half of this season. Now in the past we have seen Mikel Arteta deploy Martinelli as a centre forward, last year against the likes of Fulham and West Brom, but even in terms of this season against Chelsea in the second game of the season, Martinelli started as a striker. But so far, so in terms of all those games, with all due respects, we have seen Martinelli kind of struggle when it comes to the physical aspect and the back to goal play that a striker needs to have. So once he can improve the back to play goal, I mean in terms of movement alone, I would go as far as saying that after Aubameyang's departure, Martinelli is right up there in terms of the best players at the club when it comes to make movements in behind and let strikers move and sense for a goal. So with that all being the case and Arsenal's lack of options, my question to you is, do you want to see Gabriel Martinelli get another chance as a potential centre forward option for Arsenal going into the second half of the season? I know it's getting a bit career mode, but imagine Odegaard, Saka and Smith Rowe behind Gabriel Martinelli. Maybe, just maybe, potentially we could be cooking. Okay, moving on, let's discuss Alexander Lacazette. Now in terms of Mr. Lacazette, his Arsenal contract expires at the end of the season, but you guys already knew that. But in terms of Arsenal so far, according to reports, they've given Lacazette a 1-year contract extension, which so far Lacazette is yet to accept. And so with that being the case, Mr. Chris Wheatley is reporting today that Alexander Lacazette is set for talks with Lyon over a free transfer in the summer. Now in terms of Mr. Jean-Michel Aulas, the president of Lyon, he has already confirmed that these guys have interest in Mr. Lacazette. But in terms of Arsenal, the real question here is, should they give Lacazette a contract in the first place? Well, according to ex-Arsenal player Paul Merson, if Lacazette goes and gets 10 goals before the end of the season, they can't get lazy and give him a new deal worth 250k a week, thinking it might be his season next season. Whatever he does between now and the end of the season, he's had his chance at the Emirates Stadium. In terms of myself, I kind of do agree. I think Lacazette is a very decent player on his day, but in terms of Arsenal to progress on to that next level, to get Arsenal competing back at the top, I just don't think that Lacazette has that goal scoring pedigree to be Arsenal's long-term goal scoring number 9. But at the same time, you could argue that in terms of a young Arsenal team, we already are lacking a lot of experience, and Lacazette is one of the few Arsenal players that gives that experience. But he's also recently been wearing the Arsenal captain's armband. Now if you factor that all into the fact that Arsenal are also set to lose the likes of Eddie Nketiah and have already let go of Aubameyang, Arsenal would have no senior centre forwards left in the club apart from Folarin Balogun. So with all those factors kept into mind, my question to you guys is, would you guys give Lacazette a brand new contract extension? Paul Merson also says that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a perfect fit for Arsenal and they should break the bank to sign him next summer. Arsenal need a world-class centre forward. They've just saved £25 million on wages, getting rid of Aubameyang. I agree, Merson, that Arsenal do need a world-class centre forward, and I also do rate Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but I wouldn't go as far as saying that he's world-class. But in terms of Arsenal so far, it seems like they have two very key targets, one being Calvert-Lewin and the other being Swedish sensation Alexander Isak, and we all know too much about that guy. And this was also reported by The Athletic, who confirmed that Arsenal's main target in striker position now, it comes down to Calvert-Lewin and Isak, but with several influential voices within Arsenal's recruitment structure continuing to push the case of Calvert-Lewin very strongly. So according to the very reliable Athletic, a lot of very important people behind the scenes at Arsenal are pushing for Mr. DCL. The most important factor here is Mikel Arteta, because as you guys saw in the summer transfer window, it was him that wanted Tomiyasu, him that wanted Ramsdale, and him that wanted Ben White. It's proven that Mikel Arteta has a massive part to say in terms of who do Arsenal sign at the end of the day. But what do you guys think about Dominic Calvert-Lewin versus Alexander Isak? And out of both of the striking options, who would you say is your preferred candidate? But talking about Mr. Isak, according to Tom Hopkinson of the Sunday Mirror, Arsenal are facing competition from Chelsea and Man United for Alexander Isak. United see him as a potential replacement for Ronaldo should he leave in the summer, while Chelsea could go again for a striker if Lukaku fails to ignite this season. I'm not really surprised, because I expected this to happen, and in terms of the current striking pool around Europe, you don't have that many top options. So despite the expensive price tag set on Isak, with the likes of United, Chelsea, potentially Man City as well wanting strikers, Isak is a very good option. And this is also the risk that Arsenal were running when they chose not to activate his release clause in the January transfer window, which by the way I do agree with. I don't think Isak is worth £75 million. But in terms of the price tag of Alexander Isak, talk to me of what you think is a realistic price that Arsenal should look to pay if they are to sign the Swedish sensation. Arsenal's midfielder Mohamed Elneny has been named in the 2021 Afcon Best 11. Of course, in terms of Mo, he made it all the way to the final of Afcon, but unfortunately for him and Egypt, they were to lose to Senegal on penalties. But the fact that he has made the Afcon team of the tournament, it shows that he was very important for Egypt and had a very standout tournament. But another Arsenal player that was also pretty decent in this Afcon, it was Mr. Nicolas Pepe. And in terms of them stats, he had 4 games, 2 goals, 1 assist, 1 goal in the penalty shootout, and 2 Man of the Match awards. Pepito was on fire during Afcon, but now, what happens with his Arsenal future? After being knocked out with Ivory Coast, he flew straight over to Dubai to join up with the Arsenal first team. Now in terms of Pepe's preferred position as that right winger, I think that Saka does have that locked down. But in terms of Pepe, I have seen quite a few Arsenal fans claim, and even Arsenal legend Ian Wright, say that why can't Pepe play as a potential false number 9? Now it is a very bold shout. I do think it's quite career mode and FIFA based. But at the same time, despite Pepe's flaws, over the years he has proven to Arsenal fans that he is a very decent goal threat. Do you guys think Mikel Arteta can make a space with Pepe in the Arsenal starting 11? Okay, moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with ex-Arsenal player Mark Overmars, who a lot of Arsenal fans in the past had claimed maybe he can be Arsenal's next technical director if Edu Gaspar was to leave. But in terms of Overmars, Ajax have confirmed that Overmars has left the position as director of football after cross-border messages sent towards several women colleagues at the club over the past few months, with Overmars saying that I am extremely embarrassed. Last week I was confronted by my behaviour and how it had affected others. Sadly, I did not realise that I crossed a line. By the past few days this got clear to me. I want to apologise. I realise what I've done now, but it is too late. I don't think in terms of any future him at Arsenal, I don't think it makes any sense. And even though I'm just a fan, I don't have much to say, I will say that at least I want Arsenal to employ people that have at least a decency of respect. Moving on to the Arsenal under-23s, who have been on fire, and in the last game against Chelsea's under-23s, they beat them 3-1. And that means in terms of the Arsenal under-23s this season versus Chelsea's under-23s, they beat them 6-1 in September, 4-1 in January, and 3-1 in February. The famous Chelsea Cobham Academy has been renowned as one of the best academies around Europe. In terms of this year, it is Arsenal's hill end coming very clearly out on top. I mean, the pool of talent alone, the likes of Salah, Adine, Omari Hutchinson, Mika Bireth and Cole, Arsenal once again have some very exciting players coming through, and for that a lot of credit has to go to Mr. Per Mertesacker. Here is a radar of Martin Odegaard so far in the 2021-22 season, and as you guys can see, this guy has been on fire, excelling on non-penalty XG, expected assists, key passes per 90, pass completion and progressive passes. And the fact that he's still 22 years of age, the fact that Arsenal signed this guy for just £30 million, a round of applause for Arsenal, because that, my friends, is looking like a bigger and bigger bargain as the days pass by. But in terms of Odegaard, what's now very important for Arsenal is to play him in the correct position, and that being an out-and-out number 10. And why that's very important is because in terms of Odegaard, in the past few games, we've seen him have to drop down deep to collect the ball, which he can do, but it's not where his strength lies. His strength lies in that final third, getting that ball as high as possible and hurting teams where it matters the most. That is why the likes of Xhaka and Partey are very important, because when they play, they have a very good ability of getting that ball into the final third and allowing Odegaard to actually remain within his actual position. Finally, Mikel Arteta says, we have lost points that sometimes show the lack of maturity we have in the squad, but at the same time we have won a lot of games because of the enthusiasm, the passion and the energy the young players bring to the team. It's a very wise quote there from Arteta, but you know what, in terms of this young team and inconsistencies, I do agree. What's really weird to me is sometimes the immaturity comes from Arsenal's most experienced players, and I am looking in particular at Mr. Granit Xhaka, and also let's not forget Thomas Partey. Hopefully they can avoid any injuries, but also most importantly any silly suspensions, because as long as they remain fit and available, and I will stand by this, I think that Arsenal have a very good chance of making the Champions League places. But in terms of yourselves, do you trust Xhaka and Partey to remain fit and available going into this very important half of the season? But that is the video there and there. If you guys have enjoyed, smash a like on it, and also do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you would like to follow your boy on them social medias, then the links will be down below in the description. But that was the latest Arsenal news today. I hope you guys have been informed, and I hope you guys have missed your boy, because I've been missing for a few days, but now your boy is back. Hopefully Arsenal back on Thursday, and I will see you guys next time in a bit.